stop me. I'm high on black coffee, baby. Your blues won't rock me. I'm planting all the seed corn, baby. Storm crows can't stop me. I'm cranking up the bass amp, baby, and you can't drive me. Ooh, sugar pie. Ooh, sugar pie. Ooh, sugar pie. Sugar pie. I'm gonna let my hair grow, baby. My boss can't stop me. I'm gonna take a payday loan to fight the commies. I'm headed to the drugstore, baby. Don't call your mommy. I'm gonna skip the ice cream, baby, and eat pastrami. Ooh, sugar pie. Ooh, sugar pie. You make me lose myself. You make me lose myself. I'm gonna make some biscuits, baby. Gluten can't stop me. I'm going about my taxes, baby. The man won't rob me. I'm gonna drink some Lysol, baby, to clean my body. I'm rocking out at midnight, baby. HOA can't stop me. Ooh, sugar pie. Ooh, sugar pie. That's how we weed out, shake out the weekends. We start by amateurishly playing a song, and then we see who's still hanging around. And the people that are still hanging around are my kind of people. Hey, Hannah. Hey, Hippie Acres. Hey, Suze. Hey, Suze. Hey, Suze. Hey, B. Palmetto Paratrooper. Derek. Alex Stanlow Music. Choco Cat. Hugh. And who else we got here? Carolyn. How to Garden. Got some of my favorite people here. It's nice to see you all. So I had a crazy experience this morning. Do you want to hear about my crazy experience? Okay, now I've never done this before. I have never picked something like 70 watermelons in one day. I know, I have not had a very interesting life. I have never picked 70 watermelons in one day. I don't think I've ever picked more than 6 or 10 watermelons in one day. And I never expected to pick 70 watermelons from one patch of melons on our property. Especially not in the sandy, acid, weedy pasture that we tilled up, made some mounds, and planted watermelons in, and only lightly fed them and watered them once, very early on. This is ridiculous. 70 watermelons? Come on. This is amazing. I am so blessed with watermelons. And it's all my son's instigation, right? I tilled the area up, said, we're going to fence this area off. We got some of the kids. We fenced the cows out of that area. Tilled the area up, and I said, all right, go ahead. Plant away. Let's see what happens. And I really, I've been burned before. We put a lot of work into our spring potato patch. It is not done well. I don't even think we're going to get as many potatoes back as seed that we planted. Now, I just keep having irrational hope that potatoes are going to do well. But these watermelons? This Landrace thing works. Yesterday we talked about Landrace gardening and how it was working, and then I thought, you know what, I had gone out to the watermelon patch a couple of days ago, and I saw a few of them that looked like they were kind of getting ripe, so I had to talk to the expert, my son Ezekiel, and say, okay, man, you should probably look at those, because it's gotten pretty sunny. It looked like some of them were getting ready to me. Let's go out in the morning and see what's out there before, you know, they get overripe. And we started picking watermelons. He's like, hey, this one's ripe, this one's ripe, this one's ripe, this one's ripe, this one's ripe. And I started to go, okay, I'm gonna pick them. I'm gonna pick them right alongside. That was one ripe. That looks ripe to me. That looks ripe to me. Holy moly! It's like they're growing through the weeds. There's weeds growing over the top. Some of the grass has come back. And there's just melons everywhere. And every time we go through the patch, I think we got to be done. Find another one, another one, another one, another one. It's ridiculous. It's a terrifying amount of watermelons. It's just in time for the 4th of July. Just in time for a picnic that we're going to with a few other families. So that's good. And I am so just overwhelmed with how well these melons grew with such little work, and just seeing the results of this Landrace gardening technique on melons. I'm going to show you guys one of these melons. This is very interesting. You've probably never seen a melon like this before. This melon is quite heavy. It's something like 25, 27 pounds, something like that. So big round melon. Now it has coloration like a Charleston gray. If you guys know any of your old southern varieties of watermelons, Charleston gray is a very popular, used to be a very popular red melon. It has this much less of that stripiness that your standard, you know, Walmart watermelon varieties have. And they often look pretty gray in the field. But it has the roundness of some of the rounder varieties, but a lot of heft to it. It's a big watermelon. So the interesting thing about mixing all these varieties and seeing that craziness of variation is that you've got things and you think, this watermelon, it looks like a Charleston gray. Like, you think, oh, this is a Charleston gray watermelon. It's going to be red on the inside. And then you'd open it up, and it could be yellow. I don't know if that's going to be yellow or red. We got an exceptional amount of yellow watermelons this time around. Pretty much almost every other watermelon has been yellow, which makes me wonder if it's one of those dominant traits. And, you know, you get these colorations, and you think, I think that looks like a Congo watermelon. That looks like a Carolina Cross. And then you open it up, and it's yellow on the inside. I opened up one today, and it was both red and yellow in kind of a swirly, variegated pattern inside. So, okay, that's weird. That is not a commercial variety of melon. So the way this worked was Ezekiel took a whole bunch of different watermelon varieties, heirloom varieties of watermelons, and let them all, just planted them all in poor soil at our previous property. Nasty sand. It was worse there than it is here. Our sand here is kind of okay. It's not great out in the pastures. Low organic matter tends to be like 5.5 on the acidity, so it's you know, it's not great. Low organic matter, 5.5 on acidity, but it's better than the previous property. The previous property had almost no mineral value to it. It was very degraded, poor soil. But looking at these watermelons over these 4 years, the first year, many of those varieties that he planted, they bloomed, or they didn't, and they didn't even necessarily set melons, or they set a few melons. And we had borrowed a piece of land, and then somebody came through and bush hogged a chunk of it, which destroyed a lot of the watermelons. I don't know why somebody came through and bush hogged it. It was another family member of the person we had borrowed land from, just came through and ran a bush hog, which was very upsetting, and caused a bit of probably unkind words to flow at certain points, because we had put a lot of effort into setting it up. But we managed to get some watermelons. Those varieties, though, some of them just didn't do well or didn't make much. But from the ones that won, we saved seeds. Ezekiel saved seeds. Then in the second year, he planted those seeds and he added more varieties to them. And they did better. More vigor. And we were seeing things like roots growing out of the nodes of the vines, and very vigorous vines. And we just saw a decent amount of variation too in the leaf shape. Some of them were very raggedy and spread far apart. Other ones had a more nice rounded lobe shape. Some of them were really raggedy with really long branching to it. Some of them were more, you know, fitted together. And it was interesting to see how they ran, and some of the zigzag angles that the vines would take across the ground. Then last year, the melons got too much shade, and we had a kind of a difficult spring for them. They didn't do that great. And not only that, a decent amount of the seeds got lost because there were plates of seeds that were drying out, and one of the other kids cleaned the house and put them out in an outbuilding, and mold and insects, or probably rats. But I'm not supposed to say rats. My wife doesn't like it when I mention that there are rats that exist in the world, and they do damage occasionally. She likes to imagine that they might be mice, or even bunnies or something like that. You know, oh, there's bunnies in the wall. That sounds okay. You know, there's just bunnies, and there's just bunnies. It's definitely not the R word. But a decent amount of the seeds actually got ruined. But he still had seeds. So he planted again, but this year, they just flew. And we had torrential rain, we had drought. These were in poor, really generally poor conditions. This is not soil that has been improved. It was pasture that was tilled under, and they got a light fertigation of a light fertilizer solution in water early on during the drought. So once they got water, and they got a little bit of nutrition once, when the vines were like this long, because I thought these things are going to die. I probably didn't even need to do that. The vigor in these watermelons from the crossing is immense. And you can see that there's a massive amount of variation. Let me pull up an image here. If we can look at this. Okay. Let's take a look right here. So you can see, by looking at this, there are round ones, there are ones that don't have stripes, there are ones with stripes, there's oblongs with almost no striping. There are some that are almost black. There's one out there that has not produced yet, it's not ripened yet, that is almost charcoal black, which is very interesting. And you see there's that one little yellow one. that was red on the inside, and I don't know if that's just got that way because it was old on the vine and it got sunburned, but it was still kind of blandly sweet. It was still edible. We ate some of it. You got some here that almost have necks on them. But this set of variation here is the result of 4 years of crosses plus this spring. Ezekiel also added some more Carolina Cross seeds. Carolina Cross is an award-winning gigantic melon. And so he wants to see if he can continue to raise the size of the melons. Now, the Carolina Cross did not make big melons out there in that field. Most of the ones that we think were Carolina Cross only came out to about this big, but the Carolina Cross is capable of getting over 200 pounds. But you can see they were actually out produced in size by some of these crosses right here. So, you know, you get a 15-pound Carolina Cross melon, and then you get some sort of freak Landrace melon like this. No, what is this? I don't know what this is. It's a unique genetic individual, but it beat the Carolina Crosses. The Carolina Cross is genetically known to be a very large watermelon. It's the one that they have at those contests, you know. Grow the largest watermelon and get a blue ribbon. Isn't that crazy? So we know that genetically there was a melon in there from the Carolinas, I would assume, and that melon got outpaced, which tells you too, you know, if it's got potential to be 75 or 100 pounds and it's only getting to 2025, that's kind of telling you something about the soil that it's in. The Carolina Cross was built for massive fruit size, not survival. So for multiple years, these melons that Ezekiel has been crossing have been bred for survival primarily, for growing under adverse conditions. If melons split, or if they get blossom end rot, they don't get saved. They get thrown to the cows. The cows actually wait at the fence when we're harvesting. So if you get any that are in there, the seeds don't get saved from fruit that don't look good. It's right over the fence to the cows. They enjoy it. And now that we know we have a survival race of watermelons, now Ezekiel's talking about the fun part of it. So, you know, 3 years, 4 years of this crossing back and forth. Maybe we'll get some of those genetics from the Carolina Cross to raise the overall size a little bit. I'd say the overall size of these melons is clocking in, you know, somewhere probably around 12 pounds or so. They're not huge, a lot of them. The largest one, I think, was about 27 pounds this year. We got one that 2 years ago that was 40-something pounds, but we've not had that repeat. And we think that was a pure Carolina Cross that just happened to get really lucky in its location. Those were in the Grocery Road Gardens, and it's a little higher nutrition levels out there. But these growing in this sand, now we save seeds from them, from the survivors. Whatever fruits makes, you know, and gets seeds, we save it unless the melon is bland or grainy, and we don't think it's because it was picked too late or too early. If it has a good hard rind that doesn't split, if it tastes good, you know, we save the seeds. But he's talking now about saving from the best of the flavors now, or the best of the sizes. So, you know, large size, great flavor, we might save it. Or medium size, might save some of those. Maybe select against the smaller ones. But it's up to Ezekiel. I don't know exactly what he's going to do with it, but now he's pretty certain we have good watermelons that are bred for survival. The amount of genetics that got thrown at the ground, and now multiple years of the losers die. has given us this landrace. Not necessarily a true landrace by, the standards of whatever scientists determine landraces to be, but this is a adaptation gardening, as Izzy's calling it now, and some of the seeds, I just posted a link. Some of the seeds are available on my daughter's seed store. My son Ezekiel sells some of the seeds, and it's like a little side. It's a side business for him, and he and his sister. His sister packages them and ships them, and she runs the store and everything. And he grows the seeds and sells them as a little extra summer income, because there ain't much to do around a farm to make money. So if you're interested in getting some of these seeds, I put a link there to Daisy's store, and those proceeds do not go to me. I just give them the space and let them do what they want, and that's their own hustle right there. But I am actually so interested in this project now, seeing how well it has turned out, that I told him, it's like, we could set up a stand by the side of the road and sell these melons. Mystery melons. You could get a yellow, you could get a red. They're all good. They're not consistent at all, but they're all pretty good. We only get the occasional one where it's like, it's kind of bland, might not save seeds from that, but that's bound to happen as you sort it out. But I'm tempted to sell them by the side of the road, but they're actually, the seeds are important to continue the landrace, and we have multiple people now planting them and growing them out. So I don't want to sell them, but seeing how well they did, I'm very tempted this next year to get some of his seeds from him and do a second patch that we could just do as a cash crop, because a organically grown watermelon that I could just till an area up, make some hills, and let them run, and then maybe get $1,000 worth of watermelons to sell by the road. That would be kind of a nice little bonus in the summer to make some cash like that, and it's fun to grow them anyways. But at this point, we're kind of getting to the interesting point. So we could do, okay, we're just gonna choose the ones that look like Charleston Grays, or we're only gonna save seed from the yellow ones that taste like sugarcane, because a significant amount of those yellow ones, they almost just taste like pure sugarcane, that sort of caramelly, slightly grassy, warm summer flavor of like crisp, really good sweet corn sugarcane flavor. Some of it's just like, wow, I've not tasted this kind of sugarcane flavor, but it's been coming out in quite a few of those yellows. And today we got a red that was so sweet. It was shockingly sweet. And that was pretty interesting. It was a deep red, crisp flesh, black seeds, and very sweet, like almost cotton candy sweet, very nice watermelon flavor. And we've got another 60-something that we have to eat in the next few days. So it'll be interesting to see what other genetic treasure is in there, and then to say, okay, what do we want to save here? I don't know what Ezekiel's going to save. I have no idea. It'll be interesting to see. But his methodology so far is just to ditch the seeds from the ones that don't taste great, and ditch any ones that are diseased, or varieties that give the signs of being ripe without actually being ripe. There's one variety of dark green skinned watermelon that grew the last 2 years in this mix, and they would look like they were ready. They had the wilted tendril, a nice thump, yellow spot, and then he would harvest them, and they would be underripe. And then you wait, and suddenly you would like the next one we would try would be just gross overripe. It's not. It doesn't indicate very well. So he didn't like those genetics and did not save seeds from that type anymore. Some of those genetics are obviously still mixed in because they all crossed, but it's refining at this point. So they're from really a survival perspective first. Like, can you just grow them with no irrigation? Could you grow them without fertilizer? Can you grow them in poor soil? Could you grow them on a boat? Could you grow them with a goat? Could you grow them in the rain? This is what the first round of it is, and I feel like this has. I don't feel like I know. I'm not gonna mince my words. I'm just gonna say it directly, like an alpha male. I know that these melons can survive. I know that we have accomplished something over the last few years that is of great importance to our household. The breeding of an indestructible melon. A melon that our ancestors could be proud of. God bless America. So that's what we're doing. I'll probably not be selling the melons. We're just gonna giving them away to some people and just saying, hey, eat this melon, but give us the seeds back. So we have given away about 7 or 8 so far with that stipulation, and then we'll probably give away some more tomorrow. But that's the stipulation. You have to give the seeds back to Ezekiel. He's going to repossess the seeds. So a keeper type would be interesting, but man, a lot of the times you just leave melons out for a while and they look good, but then you open it up and it's gross. You would have to be willing to let maybe 20 or 30 melons sit on your porch for a month or so, and of course a significant amount of them will probably rot in that time period, and then the ones that you open afterwards may be disgusting, and then if you get one that's still good after 30 days, you would save the seeds from it to start again. So select down. So that was not an impression of anybody. That was just one of my alternate personalities. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. That was it. I just was excited about these melons, and I thought I've got to tell you how this went, because this was a surprisingly cool experiment. I had hopes that he would do well with it at the beginning, and it was exciting to just get a whole bunch of packets of watermelon seeds. And some of you guys contributed seeds. Steve shared some seeds with us. A couple other people mailed seeds to us. Leo Miranda Castro has taken some of the seeds and grown them, and I think he gave us some seeds back. And then we bought a decent amount of seeds, just mix them all together, and then just let the strong survive for 4 years. And now it has paid off with way too many melons. So the grand total in weight so far is 1,093 pounds of watermelon, all within the last 2 weeks. We had a few early ones, and then suddenly we've had a huge amount, and there's probably about, I don't know, another 300 pounds out there or something that we haven't picked yet, maybe 400. We'll see, because some of the vines have decided to make another round of watermelons, and some of them are just getting started on making watermelons. So these are the early, this is the middle ones. So that's a kind of a crazy amount of melons. So my wife is talking about watermelon syrup. I'm thinking about making sweet relish. I love sweet relish, homemade sweet relish, but the cucumbers didn't do great this year. But we have lots and lots of watermelon rind, so I was thinking of making watermelon rind sweet relish. Just taking our sweet relish recipe and substituting. And watermelon syrup could be interesting. That's something that we've talked about. Just taking the juice and cooking it down into a syrup. I think that would be kind of awesome. And a lot of them are just going to have to be eaten fresh, and we're probably going to end up feeding any of the ones that the kids don't eat. We'll probably just pick the seeds out of some of them and feed them to the cows, but we're trying to get them eaten before that by giving them away. I don't. It actually it doesn't make sense for Ezekiel to sell them by the road, because if he sells the seed packets and splits the money with his sister, it's actually, I think it's slightly more profitable for him, and he doesn't have to sit in the sun all day. Plus, he saves a lot of the seeds for his own use, and so the more melons we sell, the less potential genetic diversity. So he wants as much of the genetic diversity still to remain at this point. So he doesn't want to lose too much. He wants to be able to mix the seeds from each melon back in and just see how it goes. So it'll be pretty interesting. All right, I'm going to take some questions here, and of course, if anybody sends me a super chat and wants to request a song, I will do that too. It would be interesting to try melon preserves. Sounds like you got a really good mix, Derek. He's got yellow, orange, jubilee, black diamond, sugar baby, crimson sweet, Charleston gray. I think we have all of those in this mix. It was a ridiculous wide mix. Hardstyle says, my Jubilee watermelons here in South Georgia, doing good, can't wait. That's awesome. Jesus says, I could see why you would keep the pool small. Only so many people I would want to spit out the seeds and give back to me. Usually what my son's been doing is he'll cut open a melon, pick the seeds out of it with the end of the knife as he dices it all up, and he'll put it aside for his little siblings to eat, which has been very nice. Simmons says, what are some other considerations you're selecting for rind thickness, etc.? If they're not splitting, they're not getting disease. That's it right now. I'm sure Ezekiel's got some other ideas. Nice to see you, South Florida. Sunshine Tropicals. Donald says you can go out and talk to the melons on your porch, and you would be that crazy dude that talks to melons. Shiny says, how does he decide how many to plant? That was a good question. I just tilled a big old area for 3 rows of watermelon hills, and 150 foot long by maybe 45 foot wide or something like that. And he just made hills in there about every 12 feet or something like that. So, yep. Moonshine. I wonder if you can make moonshine out of watermelon. That's a fun idea. Green Country Agroforestry says, I've been having fun dehydrating melons. Yep, you can. Intense watermelon taste and a sweet, chewy snack. Pickle the rinds. I can imagine that, but I think it would take a long time to dehydrate, wouldn't it? I mean, if I ran my dehydrator... The dehydrator's been used lately on the very low setting to dry seeds for my daughter's seed store. But, I mean, I have to process a lot of melon and dry it down, I would think. And I bet you, I mean, you get that much melon, probably comes down to like a little thin thing. I'd like to try it. Can you just lay them on the trays, or do you need like a tray with a bottom on it so it doesn't leak? Or can you just put chunks on top of the mesh? Death hedge to protect the watermelons. Yeah, that sounds good. Yes, 3rd day streaming in a row. It's I have a video that I wanted to post today, but it ended up kind of complicated. I've been working on it too long, and I said, yeah, I'm just gonna talk to all y'all again. Watermelon pickle sounds good. Will cantaloupe and watermelon cross-pollinate? Good question. No, They are related, but they're not that closely related. So, let me think. Cucumis mellow. Yeah. They don't. They will not cross. They cross with themselves, though. So. Adventure Bob says my watermelons aren't running much. Just threw some 10-10-10 on them. Yeah, if they don't start running at the beginning, often you're just not going to get much. The same is true of a lot of the melons. I remember when I was a kid, I planted some cantaloupe seeds from a store-bought cantaloupe in the sand outside of my bedroom window down in South Florida. And I thought, I'll just plant these seeds here and see what happens. Well, some of them sprouted, and it grew a little bitty vine about this big. And it put on a couple of little flowers, and it grew a cantaloupe that was this big. Like not even the size of a golf ball. But I cut it open when it seemed like it was ripe, and it smelled like it was ripe. And it smelled great. It had mature seeds in it. They're almost the full-size seeds. It was just like a little tiny melon with a few seeds in it. It was ridiculous. But if you don't get them running early on, you know, there you go. Iron Patriot Mike sends a $5 super chat. Says, so glad to catch you live. I love your show. I'm up in Connecticut 6A growing Adirondack blue potatoes and strawberries. Oh, I'm jealous, my friend. I love both of those, and neither of them have done well for me. I had some decent luck with the Adirondack blue not that long ago, 2 years ago, but the last 2 years has been miserable. So enjoy that 6A gardening. It's a blessing. We're blessed wherever we are with different things that we could grow, but wherever we are, we're never quite satisfied, seems like. I miss the tomatoes that I could grow up in Tennessee for sure, and the horseradish. I liked horseradish. Hippie Acres NV says, we are land racing for short season production with good production in the heat. Yeah, good idea. You have short season plus pretty harsh swings in a lot of Nevada. So that's what Joseph Lofthouse did with his watermelons and many other crops, where he's located in Utah, if I remember correctly. It's short season, harsh conditions, and throw a bunch of genetics out there, whichever one's produced, save from them, and let nature do it for you. South Florida Sunshine says, why does fungus seem to take out my cucumbers and cantaloupe down here? DTG, best planting time. Best planting time, if you're all the way down in South Florida, probably October, November. Grow them through the winter when it's cooler and drier, because when you get into June, it's over. You get those torrential rains, you get the high humidity, and the bugs and everything just take over. So early spring, like if you start them in January, February, you might do all right, but usually by the time you get into April, May, it's getting a little miserable. But at least it tends to be a little bit drier in April down there, March, April, depends on the year. But another thing you can do is grow. I'm gonna write the cucumber that you need. Buy C. grandis plants, not seeds. If you can find Coccinea grandis, the ivy gourd, it is basically an indestructible perennial cucumber from India. But you don't want to grow it from seeds because it can be invasive if you get males and females. But if you get it from plants, from a female plant that's producing, you can take cuttings from it, or you can get somebody to sell you one on Etsy sometimes. That is the best way to start them, because then you don't have both sexes, and it will make cucumbers that do not have viable seeds in them, but it makes cucumbers years after year after year after year after year after year. We grew them down in the islands. I grew them in South Florida. I grew them in North Florida. They're like the bomb-proof cucumber. It does not get disease. They make a cucumber that's about this big. It's really good for pickling, very productive. I don't know what to tell you about cantaloupe. I haven't experimented with it that much. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Tim says, I found the best way to grow potatoes on the Gulf Coast is in a shipping box or in a feed sack. I could see that working well. I think part of the problem is that the ground gets soaked wet and beaten in the rain, and everything just chews them up in the ground. So it's not a bad idea. The Etsy store is Good Gardens. I will put a link to my daughter's Etsy store. Also, if you guys join our school community, I have a Start a Food Forest the Easy Way course up there for members. And also, if you are a annual member and you appreciate what I do and you want a ton more of it, I put up the Florida gardening course. So basically tell you how you could start with no knowledge in a small backyard and grow hundreds of pounds of food in your first year using my patented David the Good techniques. Actually, it's just a lot of common sense, a lot of experience, and you know, I've had kids for a long time, and growing our own food has really helped our budget. It's helped immensely, but it took us a lot of mistakes and a lot of things we wish we'd done differently. So in that Florida gardening course, I'm giving you guys the knowledge that I've accumulated over the years, plus the digital versions of a couple of my books, plus a crops list, and just basically the overguard. It's like cheap insurance against inflation. It's cheaper to just join for a year and get the course than it is to go to the grocery store once. Plus, you can ask questions over there and everything, and I answer questions. But there's a link to that at the top of the chat. And there's a plant swap over there. We've got an active community. We've got almost 200 people there. And it has been a good alternative to trying to answer the comments on YouTube and catch everybody. And a lot of times we've got some really good gardeners over there, including some experts. And they answer a lot of the questions as well. So if you're interested and you want to save money on putting in a food forest, Start a Food Forest the Easy Way. That course is over there. My talks from events are over there. A lot of other exclusive stuff. And then my Florida gardening course just went up a month ago. So check it out. I got the link above. Right, so you just pay for the whole year, and then there's actually a significant discount if you pay for the whole year, because then I know you're going to be there. I know I can meet my bills, but also it just unlocks all the courses. So it's pretty cool. South Florida Sunshine says, will you also open a section about your information for the Backyard Nursery book? Yes, and actually in the Create a Food Forest the Easy Way course, I do an entire half-an-hour segment on plant propagation and share the nursery techniques that we use to start a lot of things. So it's a little more exclusive information that I got from working in the nursery and working with nurseries, and so just that propagation portion of the Create a Food Forest the Easy Way course is basically my propagation hacks for people that are super cheap and want to grow lots of plants. So the Backyard Nursery book, the propagation portion of it, it's mostly in there. Annual unlocks paper towels and toilet paper. For the kid family, it's funny. So, I'll put you over to the. I think when you go in, it allows you, and I have to look at it from. I'm trying to see here. Let me check. I'm trying to see what a year is. I think it's like 206 for the entire year, and that unlocks all of the courses. But when I sell the courses by themselves, I sell them for $199. So it's a ton of stuff. And also, I'm regularly giving things away to people that come. Like we do discounts for events and stuff like that. So. Lucille, which book did you buy from 2020 on Amazon? That's a good question. Guys, Tesla says making seeds is just as important as planting them. Otherwise, how can you have either? That's true. I mean, it's important to be able to grow your own seeds. That's why I think this Landrace thing is so cool. So, uh, it's a great way to save seeds. Oh, you got Totally Crazy Easy Florida Gardening? Yes. That one is actually older than 2020. In 2020, I released Florida's Survival Gardening, which is one of my favorite books that I ever wrote. And then a couple of years after, I came out with the new version of Create Your Own Florida Food Forest, which is the really big food forest book. So, Iron Patriot says, what would be your best resource for perennial food plants and growing in colder climates? One of your books, or perhaps, or a course? No, I won't sell you any of my stuff for colder climates, except for, like the food forest course is useful because it's the overall how you plan out a food forest. And I talk about cold and warm climates in it because it's more the scaffolding of it. But for perennial food plants, Eric Tonesmeyer's book, Perennial Vegetables, is good. And let me find you another site. I like this other guy. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. tcpermaculture.com. Temperate climate permaculture. This guy does good work. But also the book Perennial Vegetables by Eric Tonesmeyer is a good resource. I find that he does have a significant amount of tropical vegetables in there, but he also knows the temperate climate, and he covers a decent amount of those too. So, yeah, pretty cool. Oh, thank you, Almost Oily. I appreciate it. Hi, Kimmy. Here, we had a kangaroo in there. Very nice. Good work. So, yeah, thank you for the super chat, Iron Patriot. Much appreciated. So, that's my recommendations. I don't know about good Facebook groups for farmers in Central Florida. I'm not on Facebook. I think I have an old page there that hasn't been updated for like 8 years or something. But I don't like Facebook. I have Facebook allergies. The only thing I think is cool about Facebook is Facebook Marketplace, and I just can't bring myself to get a Facebook account to do it. So. So guys, I'm gonna call it a night because it's getting kind of late here. But hey, thank you, Emmanuel. Appreciate the super chat. Does anybody have a? I'm gonna just. I will answer. Oh man, Bobber says, I love that you recommend other people. It takes a wise man to know what he doesn't know. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, people have said, "Oh, you think that you're so original with your Grocery Road Gardening," but if you look at the opening of the Grocery Road Gardening book, I literally named something like 20 people and multiple gardening methods. It is not smart to just take other people's stuff and then redo it as if you're a genius. Oh, guys, I've got this really great idea for you. I would much rather just give credit to the original person, because I mean, if you look at it, we're born into the world, we're given our first bits of knowledge by our parents, our siblings, grandparents. We pick up all that information from them. We go to church, or we go to school, or we're homeschooled, or whatever else. You learn everything from other people, except for what you personally experience. And you just don't have enough time in your lifespan to gather all of the information. I mean, if I had to just learn gardening from scratch, and I never read a book on seed saving, I never read a book on how to grow carrots and cabbages or whatever else. I never saw anybody plant a tree. What use would I be? What use would I be? I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be totally lost. I mean, if you were born and nobody ever talked to you, nobody ever taught you how to read or anything else, you would be like, you'd be in bad shape. So, you just, I think it makes sense to give credit to everybody else, and most of all to give credit to God, because you wouldn't have anything that you have without God. You wouldn't have your voice, your singing voice, however good or bad that may be. I have a somewhat decent singing voice. Is it my voice? Did I create it out of thin air? No, it was the one I was given. I'm just over 6 foot tall. Did I choose to be just over 6 foot tall? Should I brag about being over 6 foot tall? No, probably not. No, I mean, did I do it? I didn't do it. I just my parents fed me enough broccoli when I was a kid. You know what I mean? And I had the genetics for it. So everything that you have, you just got to be thankful for. And give credit to everybody else, anybody that's influential to you. When you tell somebody, thank you, or that is a really cool shirt, or you have a beautiful voice, or whatever, right? I mean, you could really change somebody's life forever, and you don't really know what anybody's going through either. So if I see somebody and I like their work, like. I read Craig LaHallier's book, Epic Tomatoes, and I got to talk to him. It's like, I love what he's doing. I have no idea all this stuff about tomatoes. I'm no tomato expert. I got to talk to Steve Solomon about mineralizing the soil. I got to talk to a chemical engineer about how soil particles are charged, and I just completely blanked out. He was so far above my intellect. I'll just say thank you. I appreciate you trying to explain it to me. Thank you, Iron Patriot Mike, for the tune. Bobber, thank you very much for the super chat. It's much appreciated. But first of all, you're just thankful for what you've been given, because you didn't really deserve anything. You didn't, you were born into this world, and everything you have is given to you, and at the end you die, and you only take with you your soul. So, yeah, I mean, be thankful. Be thankful and thank other people all the time. Tell people that they're valuable to you. Before my dad died, the last time I talked to him, the last thing he said on the phone, we just talked about whatever we were talking about. Probably about, he would always talk about the Miami Dolphins. We would talk about family, and I would always ask his advice on different things. And the way he always ended his phone calls was, love you, Dave. That was it. Like, always. Love you, Dave. And at his funeral, he died in a car accident. And at his funeral, I said, you know what was great? There was nothing left unsaid between my dad and I. There was nothing at the end where I was like, I wish that I had asked him for forgiveness. Or I felt like Dad never talked to me about such and such. I felt like we were strained on this point. No, because we just always talked it out. We forgave each other. If we disagreed on something, we disagreed on it. But it was always, love you, Dave. Love you, Dave. Love you, Dad. Love you, Dave. That was it. So when he died, it wasn't like, I mean, I missed him so much. It was horrible. But it's much worse if you're like, I have no chance to fix things now. That's it. I just have a hole there forever. I wish I had said I love you. I wish I'd said something nice. I wish I hadn't, I wish I'd forgiven him. Or I wish that he had forgiven me. Or that I had asked. So it's not good to leave any of that stuff hanging. It's good to thank other people. If you have something kind come to your mind, just go ahead and say it. Because, I remember when I was a kid once, I was super, super skinny, right? And this lady was a friend of my mom's. And I remember, like trying to show off my bicep. And I'm like, I don't have biceps. I really don't have muscles. And she goes, oh no, you have swimmer's muscles. You have those long, lean muscles like swimmers. Oh, I have swimmer's muscles. So next time when, kids are at the playground and they're all, comparing, look at my biceps, and you got some of these bigger kids that are, tough, I'm like, nah, I got swimmer's muscles. I'm a swimmer. It's so funny, right? Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna pick a song here. Sorry, guys. Never tune on camera. What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Pain we bear, all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Every trials and temptations, is there trouble anywhere? Be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so faithful, who will all our sorrow share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Are we weak and heavy laden, cumbered with a load of care? Precious Savior, still our refuge. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Do thy friends despise, forsake thee? Take it to the Lord in prayer. In his arms he'll take and shield thee. Thou wilt find solace there. I always like that one. Old friend of mine who is gone now used to play that on the guitar with me when I was really kind of learning the guitar. He would play some of the chords and I would play some of the chords, and we would hack it out together. So you guys have a wonderful evening. God bless you and keep you. Thank you all for the super chats. If you are interested in getting some of the Landrace seeds, there is a limited amount for this year. They seem to be the Indestructible Melon, as I titled this. And if you want to join the community, there is a link at the top to join the community. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for being so kind and hanging out with me in the evenings. I love to see all of your names come back. It's like, I know you, I know you, I knew you. Hey, nice to meet you. So you guys have a great evening. God bless you and keep you. And until next time, may your thumbs always be green.